big up here, I get that. But there are also non-dairy farmers too, I get it. Whatever it is, here's the #1 way we help farmers. It is a philosophical issue and then an actual real answer issue. Philosophical. We need to treat small farmers like small businesses. And we don't. We simply don't do that. What we do is we say, small farmers are just farmers. So they get hammered with insurance. They get hammered with workers' comp. Then they can't get SBA loans. They can't do it. Change that entire piece of the entire state. Let them have lower insurance rates. Let them have better workers' comp. But more importantly, let them get small business loans. This is critical. You have dairy farmers right now, and the vast majority of dairy farmers right now in New York State, they are price takers, not price makers, which means if the Chinese happen to love our cheese, we make lots of money. If they don't, we get hammered. That is not a viable business model. That is not a viable business model. But what if all of a sudden I said, I'm going to treat you like a small business? What does that mean? You can put a facility on your farm if you want to create craft yogurt, craft ice cream, craft cheeses. Easy. Why would you do that? Why would anybody do that? Why would it even work? Look at the beer industry in this state. It's the exact same things already happened. Craft brews everywhere. What does that mean? That means private money can come into farms. You have people rushing up here to say, I've got 100 grand. I would love some craft cheese around this area. Boom. But not just that. You want to be local? I have an idea. As I said before, follow the Wyoming rule. How about if you were a farmer here, you would have craft cheese, craft ice cream, craft yogurt, or whatever else you like, and on top of that, no federal regulatory bodies on you at all. With transparency, a stamp. We do not follow federal guidelines. That's all. And the consumer decides. Does the consumer want local produce, local products? Take it. Is the consumer concerned without the federal guidelines? Don't buy it. The consumer decides. What it also means is now the farmer decides. Now, I don't know if it's the right answer for any given dairy farm, whether they should do a craft cheese or yogurt, but I'm not a farmer. That's my point. That's always been my point. I don't have to know what's right for a farm. The farmer should know what's right for a farm. I talk the talk and I walk the walk. People tease me all the time, Larry, you're from Queens. How in the world can you know what's right for, Watertown, Rochester, Jamestown? I don't. I've never said I did. I don't. But guess what? You don't know what's right for me in Queens. So we're even. How about instead, I let you be you, you let me be me, we let her be her, and him be him, and we'll all be happy and free together. That's a good idea. People always talk about, we should chop the city off from the state. Hear it all the time. What if the city wasn't running the state? You wouldn't care. That's my answer. My answer is let it be local, let you decide. You won't care. You're fine. Let Queens be Queens, whatever. You don't live there. Life is good. That's what we want to do. That's how I want to help farmers. Changing the mindset and helping them with insurance and helping them with SBA loans and removing the burden of federal regulatory bodies. That is how we help farmers.
Untying the hands.
Yes, indeed, 100%. Yes, that's what I'm trying to achieve. Note, how did I raise taxes with that? Yeah, nothing. How did I fund or invest? I didn't. Did I start a new board or committee or authority? No. Those things are literally petri dishes for corruption. All of them. The Regional Economic Development Corporate Councils got to go away. They're bad. All those authorities and boards go away. They're bad. Look at every single person who's been indicted, arrested, or convicted. Every one of them is on some board, some authority, some committee. How about we get rid of those things? They just make things worse. Did I answer your farm question?
Mm-hmm.
You had a question or comment. Go ahead.
Yes, sir, I did. It's interesting you bring up the war with your mom.
The what, I'm sorry?
The war with your mom.
Yes.
So the question is, we have a serious heroin epidemic.
Yes,
in
we
the
do.
North country. And it's not just here. It's Connecticut.
The whole country.
The whole entire Northwest. I'm sorry.
Northeast.
Just got back from Maine last week. Had an incident where a young lady wanted to kill herself.
Yep.
Chose heroin as her choice to OD.
Yep.
We had two individuals in Vermont that were doing a drug bust, found white powder. Both of those fellas wound up needing Narcan to bring them or Narcan back from OD.
Yep.
And they did not inject or do this was simply airborne.
Yes? What's your question?
My question is, what is your stance on the war on drugs? Obviously,
Yep.
you're not fighting hard enough.
Yes, let me tell you exactly how we need to deal with these issues. To be forward, the opioid crisis is also multifaceted. There is absolutely no one answer. If anyone says they have a one answer, they are wrong. There is not one answer. There are multiple answers to this, and let me give you all the parts we need to do to make this work. Step one with the opioid crisis, we need to regulate hemp and cannabis like onions. I am not joking, like onions. That is not the answer. That is part of the answer. There must also be more. Why do we want to do that? Several. One, for farmers. There are farmers who are not dairy farmers who would love to have opportunity to grow hemp or to grow cannabis. And again, small farmers, craft grows. Craft hempcrete, hemp plastic, hemp cloth, hemp rope, cannabis for sleep, cannabis for withdrawal symptoms from drug abuse, cannabis for all type of pain relief. All those things, craft grows that will get small farmers to rock and roll. Why like onions? Onions with one exception, 18-year-old to buy. But wait a minute, what about regulation? No! Let me say it again. No! If you do that, here's what I guarantee you. Big business wins, small farmers lose. Big pharma wins, big tobacco wins, every small farmer gets destroyed. How do we know that? That's happening now in California, in Washington, in Colorado. I was at a cannabis investment summit in Manhattan about 2 weeks ago. I was the only candidate who was invited because I'm the only one who wants to do this. No other gubernatorial candidate would do this. If I'm not elected, hemp and cannabis will not be legalized in any way, shape, or form except heavily regulated to make sure big business wins. That may be the only way to do it. Otherwise, they won't do it. If we do this to where big business wins, it's a disaster. I want to make it to where you're a small farmer and you decide, you know what could work for me? Hemp. What could work for me? Cannabis. Go. Do it. If I've got to get licensing, it's not going to work. Heavy regulation, not going to work. Another reason why we do hemp and cannabis. It's better for our environment. Hemp is amazing for our environment in many ways, shapes, or form. And on top of it, if we have cannabis, people will use cannabis products. And that's what I want. They'll use edibles, they'll use liquids, and some of them will smoke it. Whatever they want to do. It's your business. I don't mind. But here's the most important piece. People who have pain, chronic pain in New York, and there's lots of people who do, they have a couple of options. Option one, opioid. 80% of all of our addicts started with a prescription drug, FDA-approved opioid. 80%! You give people a cannabis product option, that goes down tremendously. So new addicts begin to go away because people are taking cannabis products. How do I know that's true? The data is in already. Washington, Colorado, California, Norway did studies, Switzerland did studies, Portugal did studies. That's a fact. People say that's not true, you're living in a fantasy world. It is absolutely true. If you do this, you will have less addicts. To be clear, it's not enough. It is only one piece. But you will have less addicts. People will choose cannabis products versus opioids. I hear people come to me all the time. I have women come to me and say, Larry, I hope you make marijuana legal. And I said, why? She said, I have chronic pain. I smoke some every night so I can go to sleep. Without it, I can't sleep. So I have my son buy it. I don't want him to go to jail. That's your other option. Opioid or be a criminal. The last option is suffer. Because now you find doctors who are now afraid to give opioids out. You've seen it. Yes, it didn't happen. They're afraid because now our answer in New York State is punish the doctor. That's the answer. Punish the doctor. All we know how to do in this state is hit things with a stick. That's all we know. Hit it with a stick. No, I want happy New Yorkers. My being righteous for me, way low on the totem pole. Happy New Yorkers, really high on the totem pole. I want happy New Yorkers. And if you smoking marijuana lets you sleep at night, go ahead. If you taking an edible that gives you some pain relief so you can go spend time with your family, please go ahead. I'm not your judge. I'm your facilitator. Make things good for you. That's who I am. So instead, let it happen. But I also say, don't regulate. Why? Again, what if you're very poor? What if you can't afford this? Great. Grow your medicine in your backyard. I said onions. You can grow onions in your backyard. Grow your medicine in your backyard. I'm totally fine with that. Your life, grow your medicine in your backyard. But Larry, why don't we want to tax it so we can pay for the roads? I will tell you about how to pay for roads if you ask me. I have a plan for that also. I don't want that. Once you heavily tax it, over 3%, you will find a black market pops up. I don't want a black market. Black market means crime. Black market means overdose. Black market means violence. I don't want that. Will that go away, Larry? Yes, the data is in Portugal, in Colorado, in Washington, in California. The data is in. What creates a black market and what doesn't. When violence pops up and when it doesn't, it's there already. The data is in. So first step is that. Not enough. That will also, though, help people getting off of drugs. What do people do when they get off of drugs? They go into withdrawal. Why do they go back to drugs? Because of withdrawal. So how about instead you give them a cannabis product? There are cannabis products that mitigate withdrawal. So if you have some support structure and you have a cannabis product, you have a chance of getting better. My mom was an addict. I saw what addicts do. They take their drug over everything else. They lose everything. That's what happens when you're an addict. How can you get someone to not be an addict? First off, some significant emotional event that will tell them they should stop, whatever that is. That could be an I love you. That could be being arrested. That could be anything. Some significant emotional event that goes, wow, I should stop. But then second, support to get past the withdrawal and get back on your feet. If you don't have support for withdrawal and to get back on your feet, you will go back to being an addict. That's how it works. My mother had me. Not everyone has someone like me. Not everyone does. My mother had me. So how about we help them? We treat our addicts now not as criminals, but as people who have actual medical problem. Treat them that way. Now, I need to go further on this now. We have a thing called OASIS right now. OASIS kind of controls New York State on what is okay for people to treat people for addiction. That is an embarrassment and disaster that exists like that. OASIS can exist absolutely as a repository, as a place to get information, no worries. But it controls and tells us what matters. Here's what I know. I don't know what gets an addict off of their drug. For some people, it's spirituality. Some people, it's another drug. Some people, it's family and friends. Some people, it's work. Some people, it's exercise. I don't care what it is. I don't want one authority deciding they know what's right. What I want is for anyone who's an addict to have the best chance of getting off their drug, and whatever they need to make that happen, I'm in. I'm in. I'm not going to stop you, whatever. Whatever is what finds your way off that drug, I am in. 100%. I'm not controlling anything. But I'm still not done. With all that, we have people who want different things. One of the things people pop up with is the idea of the injection sites, the safe injection sites. This pops up all the time. I'm not against them. If your local community wants to do it, it's your local community. Why would I make them illegal? If you want them, have them. If you don't, don't. They might work, they might not work, but it's your community. You decide. Why as me as a governor, am I saying you shouldn't do that? Ithaca wants them. A lot of counties don't want them, and that's fine. I'm not going to force you to have it. I'm not going to stop you from having it. If you're Ithaca and you want it, good luck, go, as long as you locally are paying for it. If you are locally paying for it, as the woman we just left about getting rid of mandates, as long as the state doesn't have to pay for it, and you locally pay for it through either your local taxation or through nonprofits, good luck. Do what you feel is appropriate. Because here's what I know. I don't know the right answer. And if I stop people from coming with new answers, I'm stopping someone from getting help. Try them all. Whatever answer you got, I'm in. Give it a shot. We do that, we will change how it works. Last piece, prison. Prison reform is also a big place where people stay on drugs or actually even get addicted to drugs, even in prison. I want you to understand this. In prison, there's physically a wall and guards with guns, and they can't keep drugs out. I'll say it again. There is physically a wall with guards with guns, and they can't keep the drugs out. The drug war is a colossal failure. It doesn't work. Let me give you a list of all the times prohibition has worked. Finished. Never. If you want to stop bad behavior, two things have to happen. Number one, shine a light on it. Let people know this is happening. Number one, shine a light. Second, educate and facilitate to stop it. That's how you get less of it. That's the answer. Educate and facilitate to get less of it. We've been fighting a war on drugs for give or take 40 years. Has it gotten better? No. In no way, shape, or form has it gotten better. We now lose people to overdose every day more than car accidents. And our answer is fund more, invest more. Remember that. Republicans say invest, Democrats say fund. They both mean tax more. Tax more. It's the wrong answer. You do those several things, we can fix this opioid crisis. It is not increasing the war on drugs at all. No, I disagree completely. Completely no. Hitting it with a stick hasn't worked in 40 years. It's not going to work now. I want you to think about this for a second. I cover this often because some people think I'm very wrong on this. And I get it. If you don't like what I'm saying, I understand. I'm never going to pander. I tell you what I feel. And I'm looking for happy New Yorkers. It's what I'm always trying for. My hope is that I get all of you at 80%. I say 80% all the time. No one's going to agree with me on everything 100% ever. Not going to happen. But as a general rule, whatever you don't like, you can fix locally anyway because I'm not going to be in your business. So whatever you don't like, you'll take care of locally anyway. But the issue is 80%. Why? As a business guy, there's an 80-20 rule. 80% is the number one rule. As a politician, my first commander-in-chief was Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan said, if your guy agrees with you 80% of the time, that's your political ally, not your enemy. So I say if I got you 80%, I hope you'll still vote for me. But to be forward with you, the war on drugs is not working. It's making families be broken up. It's hurting us. There's a better way. It can work. It will take time, lots of time, but I'm okay doing it. Why? My mother was an addict. I know what it's like. We can fix it. It can be fixed. It takes time. It takes someone who says, I love you. It takes volunteers. It does not take hitting someone over the head with a stick. Did I answer your question at least? I know you didn't like the answer, but did I at least answer the question?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Go ahead, please.
We have an undeveloped resource here. It's the St. Lawrence River.
Yep.
And it's controlled by the Power Authority of the State of New York.
Yep.
We got a few boat launches and some docks and stuff. They control the entire shoreline, and it's completely undeveloped. If you look
Yep.
at the Canadian side of the river, there's not hardly a place over there that's not
Yep.
developed.
There are two parts that we have to work on. Again, one is philosophical, and the one is actually doing the work. The philosophical piece. As a general rule, when it comes to our environment, we have a situation where the DEC says it's about the environment. There's no part that says and economic development. That's the issue that's missing in a philosophical world. It should be both. You can do both. Absolutely, you can do both. You can do it to where you have both happen. This happens in many countries, happens in many states, where you can both be sustainable for our environment and also make it economically viable. We can do that. Which means what happens, we create commissions and boards where no one's in charge of saying yes. Everyone's just in charge of saying no. Someone has to be responsible. How do we do that? I want to create these boards where the person at the top is responsible for the environment and economic development, both combined. Now, is that hard? Yes, that's hard. But it's not impossible. It's just hard. We do it all the time if we work on it. So it's a philosophical issue. Has to have someone on top that says you are responsible also for economic development. You can't just be economic development because you destroy the environment. That's been proven also. If it's just about economic development, the environment's destroyed. But there are three parts that has to happen. Has to be at the state level someone who says both of those, plus we got to start talking to local people. Property rights matter, local people matter, localization matters. And very often you've seen it. They give lip service to local people and do what they want. Happens all the time. We're here for a listening tour. Thank you, whatever you said, we're doing what we want. Happens all the time. No, I want the people at the top of these positions to be elected officials because I want them to actually have recourse. I want you to be able to say, no, that's bad. Vote them out, punish them. When these people are all appointees, what happens? These appointees, who are all these appointees? They are literally people who are being rewarded for being party loyalists or cronies. His Majesty King Andrew has raised over $800,000 from people he's put on boards. I'm not making that up. Check it out yourself. It's open data. $800,000. He rewards the loyalists by putting them on boards. And we have no recourse. What if you're mad at the guy on top of the board? What are you going to do? Nothing. Nothing. We're going to go to the Department of Justice? That's worthless. That hasn't worked once. Does anyone have a good experience with them? You can't even get a FOIA request through. And if you try that, it doesn't happen either. It's always denied. I will literally have a department of transparency that will make sure that when you want to see what's happening, when it happens, you call my department, it gets out because I say all the time, shine a light on it. Shine a light on all this bad behavior. Does that answer your question at least? Awesome, good. Guys, to be clear, a lot of my ideas aren't perfect, and I admit it, they aren't perfect. There may be flaws, there may be holes in my ideas. Absolutely. If there are, guess what? Tell me. Help me to fix them. I am open to being 100% wrong. I'm happy to be wrong. As long as this idea gets us to happy New Yorkers, I'm in. I'll put your name on it. I don't care who gets the credit. I don't care.
I want that bridge in Brooklyn.
There we go. I love it. Yes. I'm totally fine with these ideas. If I'm okay doing it. Let's make it happen. But something else. It's very important, and this happens all the time. Well, I don't like this one thing about his idea. I don't like that one part. This piece won't work. If you measure my ideas against perfection, I lose every time. I'm not perfect. No idea is perfect. Please don't do that. It's not fair to me or to you. Instead, measure my idea against the status quo. Because that's what we're getting if I don't win. If I don't win, we're not getting perfection. If it's me or perfection, please vote for perfection. Of course, why wouldn't you? That makes total sense. Thank you. It's never going to happen. It's not me or perfection. It's me or status quo. Me or death spiral, which is what this is in now. Me or 100,000 people leaving every single year. That's what you're voting against. And that was it with you. 1 second. I was in the union. And the union was asking me a question. They said, Larry, why should we endorse you? And I said, I want to be very forward with you. If you guys are happy with what's happening with Cuomo, you shouldn't. Support Cuomo. You'll get exactly the same thing. Or support the Republican. He's going to lose anyway. And Cuomo wins. Do the same thing. Support one of those two. You'll be fine. You're good. If you're not happy, there's only one choice. It's the guy you're talking to now. It's not perfect. Here's what I promise you. I don't promise you perfection. I promise you better. I don't promise perfection. I promise better. Something else I promise. I'll move us in the right direction. You're going to have to help me push. Go ahead.
Just wondering your stance on how you're going to help corrections officers.
Ah, yes, corrections officers. My father was a corrections officer, so I often get corrections. The funny thing is, the corrections officer union still doesn't like me. The corrections officers tend to like me, but the union doesn't like me at all. And the teachers union. Everything that's establishment hates me. Right? Establishment unions don't like me. Establishment 2A organizations don't like me. I'm the only one ready to repeal the SAFE Act, and they don't like me either. It's very funny. Everything establishment hates me, to include the union. They hate me too. But here's my issue with right now. For those of you who may not know, corrections officers are really in a bad spot. You happen to be in the... perfect. So tell me if I'm wrong here. Every corrections officer I know knows exactly how much time till they retire. Do you know?
12 years.
Exactly. I hear it all the time. Yes, laugh, but here's the sad part. Also, every corrections officer I know knows someone who's committed suicide. Yes, absolutely. Some know multiple. That's how bad it is. They can't wait to get out. They know someone's committed suicide. The life expectancy for a corrections officer, 58 years. 58 years. And they haven't had a contract now, what, 3 years?
It'll be 3 years in April.
3 years. They haven't had a contract in 3 years. Haven't had a contract in 3 years, and this is what's happening. And the reason why they don't have a contract is because His Majesty is fighting on something that, a way to punish you. Is that correct? Yes, a punishment clause. Yes. This is a serious problem. And all we talk about is criminal justice reform, prison reform. Yet the people who are right there, you're alienated, you're crushing. Again, I'm a businessman. When I come in and I want to help a business, I don't walk in and go, I know everything, do what I say. That's TV movie stuff. What you actually do is you go in and interview people who are on the front line and figure out what the problems are. Here's what I know is in every prison. Every prison I know. There's some really bad people who really shouldn't be out of prison ever. Absolutely true. There's also people who did something bad or made a mistake and should pay the price to society, and when they're done paying their price, should have a second chance at life. And there's also people who probably shouldn't be in prison. Here's my problem. I don't know which one is which. I have no idea which one is which. Nor do I know those who shouldn't be in prison, but since they've been in prison so long, have now become violent. I don't know those either. But you know who does know? COs. Corrections officers, who deal with these people every single day. They do have the answer to that question. I can ask them and they will tell me. And the worst part is they've been telling people and been ignored. Am I right? Yes, they've been telling people and been ignored. Here's what I promise all corrections officers. Number one, I will get you a contract within 90 days. I will ignore the punishment clause. It's irrelevant to me. I don't want to punish you anyway. So I'll ignore the clause. I promise that. I've done it openly. I will do it. Absolutely. Second, I will listen to you because I need you. I need you for prison reform. You are part of the solution. I can't do it without you. It's impossible. And the example I give all the time is the Humvee program. The Humvee program is in Massachusetts. Massachusetts, they decided that this new idea where they have two COs, two corrections officers, who help to pick, choose, survive, and bring people into this program. They're the ones who are doing that. Plus volunteers come in with one given community, in this case, veterans. They put them all together, and they come up with almost like a separations program. How do we make this work? And the volunteers are all people who've been convicted and have somehow made it on the outside. They now come in. No, where is the extra taxpayer money? Yeah, nowhere. Currently hired COs and volunteers. Happening already in Massachusetts. The recidivism rate right now in Massachusetts is about 75%, meaning people come back to jail again, right? This program, 5%. 5%. Massive change. Why? Because COs can see who's full of it, which ones should be back in Gen Pop, which ones are working. They know how to control the population. What I also hear from COs all the time is, well, Larry, I'm already these guys' therapist. I'm already these guys' marriage counselor. I'm already this guy's legal assistant. I already help these guys when they're in trouble. When they get in violent, I already help negotiate. I'm already mitigating issues already. You have a ton of COs who would happily shift into this world. I hear COs who are older say this all the time. This is a saying I love. They say, I'm too old to roll around on the floor with these guys. That's a saying I never heard till Chris always told me that. Yes. These guys would be happy to be part of these programs. Jump up and down and do it. Happy to do it. You don't have to do what we're doing now, which is spend more money bringing outsiders in. That's what's happening now in our system. Spend more money with some cool program that someone said would work, and now they drop $1 million from federal funds into something and it helps nobody and it fails 2 years later. That can go away. She's right. It's her second cousin that can put in charge. Yes, it's because of cronyism. It's because of favoritism. It's because of corruption. What I'm saying is we don't have to open or close one prison. They're already overcrowded already. We can take the actual facilities we have now, divvy them up right, and make separate areas and arenas and different communities. And how do I know what community? You're going to tell me what communities make sense because you deal with them every single day. I don't know what communities. I know veterans works. There's others. I don't know which one of those are, but you will tell me which one those are. And you will help me facilitate this. And we will have a better prison system that people have an actual chance of paying their debt for doing something bad and then having a second chance at life, but more importantly, keeping the bad guys in too. Right now, most corrections officers leave thinking, I can't wait to not be here anymore. I want them going home thinking, I made a difference. I gave someone who should get a second chance, and I made sure some bad guy did not get that second chance. I made a difference. I would like that. When I talk about happy New Yorkers, that includes happy New York corrections officers also. You're also a New Yorker. I want you to be happy. Yes, that's what I want. Did I answer your question or no?
You did. Thank you.
Absolutely, yes. All right, any other question or comment? Yes, please go ahead.
I just want to bring it back to the marijuana thing
Please.
for a minute.
Yep.
As I'm sure you know, medical marijuana is legal in this state.
Theoretically.
Theoretically.
Yes.
Exactly. That's where I'm going with this.
Yes.
Because I'm a disabled veteran.
Mm-hmm.
And all of my doctors say medical marijuana is the best thing I could possibly
100%. I hear it all the time. Yep.
You know? But I can't get it for two reasons. One,
I know.
First drug test at work.
Yep.
You're fine.
Yes.
Secondly,
Second Amendment rights.
Exactly.
You got it. You think I haven't heard this before, my friend? I know exactly. Which is why I said, I'll say it again, onions. Grow your medicine in your backyard if you want. You don't have onions. Regulate marijuana, hemp, cannabis like onions. Why are we crushing our vets? It is silly. But once we do that, what will happen? Unless you work for the federal government, which I can't stop that, But if you work for a state organization, it won't matter anymore if you fail your urine test, because it won't be illegal in New York State anymore. It will no longer matter. It'll be up to the individual employee or employer if they want that to happen or not. And here's the issue. Why would they care if the state doesn't care, if it's not illegal? They care because they'll get sued. They care because of insurance rates. If the state doesn't care, it won't matter. Does it make sense? I can't deal with the federal government, but here's the reality. The states are already fighting the federal government already. They're already doing it. The federal government is going to eventually make marijuana legal anyway. That's going to happen eventually. The faster we do it, the faster it'll happen. And big states like California doing it, New York's doing it, Florida will eventually do it, Texas will eventually do it, and when the big states do it, the government will say, fine, you win. That's going to happen. Is that 5 years or 10 years? I don't know, but it's going to happen.
No, we've got a reservation right now that sells the CBD oil.
Yes, absolutely.
Candy,
So yes, so they're making money and we're not?
they are.
What is wrong with us? I don't want to be righteous. I want happy vets, as I want happy corrections officers. I want happy New Yorkers. I want you to not have pain. I want our brothers and sisters. Look, I'm a vet too, I'm a Marine Corps vet. I want our guys, particularly the guys who just came out of Afghanistan or Iraq. I want my camera guy came out of Guantanamo Bay. He was a guard at Gitmo. I want guys like that to actually be able to have a nicer, more comfortable life in general and go off and do things. When you have chronic pain, you don't get to do things. You can't do things. If you can't do things, you're not going to be happy. I want you to do things so you can be happy, whatever is your thing. I don't care what your thing is, but please be able to go do it. So I agree completely, which is why that will end. When I'm the governor, that will end. I will make sure that will end. Did I answer your question?
Mostly. But
Okay, which one you didn't?
Specifically, anything you can do about the Second Amendment.
Ah, thank you. Yes. Okay, let me touch Second Amendment now. People always bring this up. For some reason, to the point we mentioned earlier, all the 2A organizations hate me. They literally write hit pieces on how bad I am. Like literally write hit pieces on how bad I am. Then they get mad when I attack back. Anyway, any case, the reality of this is the only candidate who supports the Second Amendment is the one you're looking at right now. The only one. There's no exaggeration. That's no joke. That's a fact. You look at it. The Democrats think guns are horrible. Safe Act is great. In fact, it doesn't go far enough. It is wonderful. Republicans are totally apathetic. Don't care at all. Ask a Republican candidate about a Safe Act. Here's what they will say. Well, we've been fighting for your school violence safety. They will go off and dodge every single time. It's embarrassing. They get mad at me when I say we'll get rid of the Safe Act. They attack me on everything. They attack me on every single thing because they can't attack my message, so they attack the messenger. They're the ones who say, where were you 10 years ago fighting? Where were you 5 years ago? As I said, I was running my business. It wasn't my job to stop this. You were supposed to be defending my Second Amendment rights while I was working. Why? Because we're paying you to do that, and you didn't do it. Well, now I'm here, and I'm going to do it. Let me be very clear. I fight hard in the Second Amendment for a very important reason. Let me forward. I support farmers. I'm not a farmer. I support new industries. I'm not a new industry. I support cannabis, and I support hemp. The hardest drug I use is caffeine. Right? Coffee is my only vice. I don't even drink. These are all races I don't have a horse in. Doesn't matter. Why? It's right. I don't own a firearm. Why? I live in New York City. I live in New York City. You guys might know this. There's a 2-hour. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
He's a Marine, he's good.
Yes, I know. You don't have to rub it in. I know. So, yes. So I have a 2-hour window. If I own a firearm and I go to a range and I can't get to my house in 2 hours, my car breaks down, I get stuck in the store, I'm going to jail. That's New York City. So of course I own a firearm. Whenever I shoot when I travel across the country. I travel a lot for my party. I'll shoot in Oklahoma, Utah. By the way, Utah gives me a veteran's discount. So that's kind of cool. So yeah, so I will always go shoot when I leave the state. So my point being, the First Amendment is the most important amendment. Without that one, we got nothing, right? Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, freedom of speech. If we don't have those 4, plus freedom to redress the government, we don't have those 5 in the First Amendment, we don't have a country. We got nothing. Number 1's that one. What came right after that? The second, to defend the first. because that's the two most important. I support all 10. They all matter all the time. I'm the only guy who supports all 10 all the time. You will never hear me say this. I support the Second Amendment, but I never say that. Second Amendment. You also never hear me say common sense gun control. Common sense means as far as I can push it today, so I can push it further tomorrow. That's what that means. I'd be very forward with you. Those people anti-2A, they market very well. They market very well. And people buy it. It's good marketing. I get it. Let's be very clear. I am going to make sure the SAFE Act is repealed by 2020. My political enemies will always tell you, he said he's going to repeal the SAFE Act. He can't. I never said that ever. What I said is I will make sure it gets repealed by 2020. I am a governor. I cannot repeal a law. It's not how it works. The Assembly and Senate must repeal the law. I can't repeal the law. But I can make sure it gets repealed. I have a plan for that. Number one thing, I will make sure that when I'm governor, I will begin to pardon all those who were convicted of SAFE Act offenses. I already get letters from prison and from mothers of kids who are in prison who try to defend their rights, the Second Amendment rights, lost, and now spend 5 years in jail and are violent felons. Yes, violent felons. That's how it works in the SAFE Act. Violent felons. So, I will say that already. When I do that, I will be attacked like there is no tomorrow. Lawsuit, people who are angry, prosecutors mad at me, and again, of course, press in my face trying to call me a bad guy, I want to kill people, I'm a terrible person. But when that happens, I'm okay with that. Because when that begins to happen, now I get to educate. Why does that matter? Well, many people who are pro-2A, and I assume many people in this room are pro-2A, but don't realize that people who aren't pro-2A, they don't care. They're not actually anti-2A, they actually just don't care. Here's how far they go. Again, it's not a gun culture at all. So their head goes like this simple. SAFE Act says safe in it. I'm not joking, it's true. Says safe right in it. And we haven't had a school shooting since 2013. It works. SAFE Act works. Literally, that's as far as they think, that's as far as it matters, and they go off to daily life, it doesn't matter. I hear it all the time. So, I get to educate. What am I going to say? What I say to Democrats now who are anti-2A. I say the same thing. Great, I got it. Did you know that the SAFE Act actually made millions of New Yorkers criminals overnight? And they go, no, didn't it like ban machine guns? That's what people have told me. I know. They've literally said that. Well, no, the SAFE Act banned machine guns, right? They don't know. They never bothered reading it. It doesn't matter. No, that's not true. Only like, gangsters who have like machine guns. It stopped that, right? I think we all have machine guns. I have 5 in my back pocket. Yes, no. But the point is that they believe. So what I say is, no, actually, it means that if you have a piece of equipment on your firearm, that firearm now is illegal and you're a violent felon. And people who bought that firearm totally legally overnight became violent felons. And even Democrats go, oh, well, that's not fair. No, you're right, it's not. But not just that. It makes our medical community part of a secret state police that now reports on people, to include veterans, my friend. It reports on them. So when you have a problem, situations like this, and this actually happened. A guy gets in a car accident. He's being rushed to the emergency room. He's in horrible pain because he's been in a car accident. And they say, tell me about your pain, how are you feeling? And the guy says, I'm in so much pain I want to die. Suicidal? Loses his yes, lose your firearms. That's correct. That happens. And again, Democrats go, oh, well, that's not good. That's not fair. Right. You're right. It isn't. I agree with you. That's bad. So I don't like the SAFE Act. And they go, oh, I didn't know that. Then I said, also it affects veterans by percentage more than non-veterans, because veterans tend to have more chance of having PTSD than non-veterans, and veterans are more apt to own a firearm compared to non-veterans. And she goes, oh, I didn't know that. Yes, we're hurting our veterans by percentage more. Oh, well, I love our vets. Yeah, but we're hurting them. Oh, that SAFE Act's not good. Yeah. Now, that may sound funny, but that conversation actually changes minds. I'll be able to have that conversation over and over and over and over again, which will change the culture of this state. And that's what I want. I don't want to executive order it away, because then 2 years later we get SAFE Act 2 and it's 5 times worse. No, I'm going to change the culture of the state. Because here's what actually winds up happening every time. Someone who lives in Brooklyn goes, yeah, but we don't need all those guns, do we? Maybe we don't need them. That could be true. But why do you want to stop them from having them? Yeah, and this is what happens. Yeah, look, I just want my weed. Okay, tell you what, let's let them have guns and you can have weed. Yeah, that's fine. That actually happens. That actually happens. Yeah. I had a guy up here, I think I was in, yeah, that's probably not a good idea. Yeah, but yes. I had a guy, I think it was Chautauqua County, I think it was, I'm not sure. But a guy literally was at a fair and he goes, you know, Larry, I don't care about weed. I just want my guns. I said, then we're in, man. We're good. Then we're good. Then we're good. That's what I'm talking about. I want to actually change the way New York thinks. We do that, you will see that begin to change. But that's not enough. The next step is I need to tell law enforcement that SAFE Act enforcement is the lowest priority, period. Lowest priority. And most law enforcement is happy to hear that. Most do not want to enforce SAFE Act violations at all, right? So they'll start to not do that also. So now we got me telling a conversation. Prosecutors can't prosecute anymore. Cops are not trying to enforce it anymore for an entire year. But one more thing has to happen. I talked earlier about needing you. Now you have to come in to help. You have to be calling, because here's the issue. I'll control the Senate in 90 days. How will I control the Senate? The Senate is about 50-50 right now, right? And probably will still be about that no matter what happens. It'll be about 50-50, right? When I win this thing, I'm going to have at least 5, 6, 7 people go, you won, Larry? You know I always loved you, right? Come on. You were always my best buddy. I would be a libertarian too. And I get 5 or 6 libertarians, and we're the swing vote. Right? We're the swing vote. So I'll control the Senate within 90 days. The Assembly I won't, though. That will be harder. That will be you calling your Assembly people saying, why in the world are we having this? Governor Sharpe has made it irrelevant. Why are we having this? Governor Sharpe's made it irrelevant. Why? You'll be calling them. But not just that. There are people in the Assembly who do want to repeal the SAFE Act. It does exist. They do. But they're afraid. They're afraid. I'll be the one taking all the heat. I'll be the one flying all the air cover and taking all the heat. So if something goes wrong, they'll blame me. They just became safe. So the country will be, the state will begin to change. You'll be bugging them. I'm taking the heat. And now over the course of a year, what horrible thing will happen? Nothing. There won't be a zombie apocalypse or shootouts in the street. It's not going to happen. So now 2020 comes and I say, guys, time to repeal. Repeal it. That's how you get rid of SAFE Act. That's the way. And you might go, but Larry, I don't like this or that. Here's your alternative. Nothing. SAFE Act 2. Because there are red flag laws sitting in Albany right now about to be passed. And if you notice, was it yesterday? Or just recently, the Republicans just agreed to ban bump stocks. See that? Was that today? It was recently. It was recently. Just agreed. The Republican Party. It was passed unanimously. Unanimously. But I'm the guy the 2A groups don't like. But I'm the guy the 2A groups don't like. The Republican Party sold the Second Amendment down the river already. Has been for years. Remember, the SAFE Act was passed with them. And they have no answer to get rid of it. The lieutenant governor candidate for the Republican Party literally has said more than once on tape, SAFE Act doesn't go far enough. She supports raising the age to purchase a firearm to 21, and she does not feel comfortable with her son having a firearm. This is the Republican, not Democrat. Democrat, I get that. Republican lieutenant governor right now, and I'm the bad guy. This is crazy. We can get rid of the SAFE Act. It can be done. Does that make sense, everybody? Awesome. I had a bunch of questions and comments. Go ahead.
Can you write an executive order to get rid of Schumer?
That would be amazing. Oh my God, that'd be amazing. You know, that one I might do. That's not bad. It has no power, but yeah, it's not bad. All right. I'll consider that. I'll consider that. Yes, go ahead.
Can we talk about repealing APPR and the test and punish environment we're in with our kids in schools?
Schools, yes. Can I just talk about my education plan in general? Is that okay? Is that, who asked Safe Act? Who was that? Was that you? Did I answer the 2A question?
Yep.
Good, okay, yes. The reason why I fight so hard on Safe Act is because Safe Act is the actual linchpin. I was going to finish this up if I could. Safe Act's the linchpin. While we're doing this, we're also making sure we veto all red flag laws. Red flag laws make it that now teachers become part of the secret state police. That's the next step. Yes, teachers, that's the next one's coming. Now, would you realize something? You may not like my plan. You may think it might fail. I got one. I'm moving forward. Help me make it better. Your alternative is nothing. That's your alternative. Nothing. Go ahead, please.
Mine deals with the New York State's concealed carry.
Yes.
This is one of the most arbitrary laws I've ever seen.
I know.
I too spent many years in the military, then spent 22 years down south. Mississippi just passed their new concealed carry law. Their concealed carry law is basically if the law enforcement can identify the object underneath your shirt, say you, ma'am, out in your garden with your apron on had your .22 pistol in that apron. As long as they can see the outline, they consider that an open carry.
Okay. What's your answer? What's your question?
My question is, what is your plan?
Yes.
correct
All right. Here's my issue, and this makes some people upset, but I'm just trying to be realistic. There's only certain things I can do my first couple years. I can't really touch concealed carry at all the first 2 years. I just can't. The reason why I say it is this state's not ready to even touch that. If I push too far, I'll get nothing. So my goal is to do 3 things in the first 2 years, maybe first 3 years, depending on how well Safe Act goes. Number 1 is get the Safe Act repealed. Number 2, and including part of that, is making sure that we veto all red flag laws. But the second thing, believe it or not, is actually universal transportation laws. If you take your legal firearm right now, you go to New York City, you're going to jail. I want to make it very simple. Very simple law. It's going to sound crazy, but very simple. A minimum. You can relax it by county if you want to. I don't mind. Your county can be more relaxed. But the number 1 issue is if your firearm is locked and unloaded, you're good. In any state, in any county or state, no matter what. If you want to have more lax laws, the county may. I'm okay with making it more lax. But the minimum is you go into Queens, your firearm is locked and unloaded, you're good. Right now, you're going to jail. And not just that. On top of that, the definition for, anybody know what the definition for loaded is right now? Loaded for in New York State is firearm in the vicinity of ammunition. I'm not joking, it's true. So I have a firearm here, a box of ammunition here, that's loaded in New York State. Loaded. So what do? Change it. Very simple. Bullets in the gun. Crazy, I know. Bullets in a gun loaded. You're asking me to deal with concealed carry when we have that law. Let me have this first. Give me this first, right? Second piece I want to use, no matter where you are in New York State, if you draw your firearm in an attempt to stop a crime, you should not be prosecuted, right? That's not how it works right now. If you try to stab her, you're going to stab her, I draw my firearm and I say, don't stab her. If you don't stab her, I'm going to jail, you're not. I'm not joking. That's how it works now. I'm going to jail, brandishing. I'm going to jail, you're not. If you stab her, we go together.
If he stabs me, he's gonna take him down.
Okay, I'm sorry, yeah. So if he stabs you, you're going to the morgue, I'm going to jail. Fine, whatever. Whatever, same thing. Gotcha. So him and I are going to jail instead. You and I are going to jail, he's going to the morgue. Fine, there we go. Yes, good. So morgue, hospital, jail. Fine. Okay. But anyway, that's nothing but bad. Let me change that law. Give me that. I'd love to touch it. Yeah, I'd love that reciprocity. I would love all those things. It'd be great. It's a bridge too far right now. I don't want to promise you something that I simply can't deliver. That's something I just can't deliver now. Does that make sense? I support it completely. Give me 8 years? Yes. 2? No. 4? Maybe.
These rights weren't taken away from us in 2 years.
Exactly. They didn't go away in 2 years. They didn't. I'm being realistic on what I see, where the state is, how people think, where they're going to fight. And if I go too far, I lose everything. I know, I'm sorry, probably 2 questions in a row. I didn't answer the way you want me to answer. I'm sorry. I just want to give you my honest answer. Did I at least answer your question? Awesome. Good. All right.
Anything about the judges?
All right. Let me deal with her, then judges. All right. Actually, there's one more thing I have to add. That goes judges. Also, permits. Pistol permits. There we go. Thank you. Let me just finish that. Wrap this up. I also want to deal with pistol permits. Officially, it's supposed to be within 6 months. It's not in many places. Some places, 18 months, 2 years. I want to make it to 2 things must change. Number 1, make it to where it's 90 days. And not just 90 days, not may, but shall issue. What does that mean? If they don't say yes or no, it's a yes. So holding off is automatic yes. So they will have to say no to you. And I say, well, let's say no to everybody. No worries. When they say no, and a county may say no. You can have county rules that may say no, but here's the rule. You must explain why you said no and have an appeals process. Those 2 things must be in play. If you do that, I'm okay. You will find judges change their minds. Because, how about hold on? But if the judge does it, some judges actually have said, I think only law enforcement should have a firearm. They've actually said this. Most people don't know this. I have an office of transparency. That will be transparent every single time. Everyone will see, wow, that judge thinks that. The only recourse we have against judges often is public. We make it public, we will see it change.
Some of the rules with the judge that we've got now with Richards are ridiculous. A person could come in like you. Some of the instructors that are NRA instructors have been military for 20-some
Yep.
years. Now they're NRA instructors. They can't get an
Yes.
unrestricted permit.
Retired state police sheriff.
No,
Yes.
He will not issue.
And here is my point.
It's his.
Hold on one second, guys. I don't know that. This is the first time I've heard this.
Oh, no.
Hold on, but could you imagine if you had a governor who would say this publicly on TV?
This is King.
Who would say this public? That's what I'm saying. As I said before, thank you for this. I said earlier, if you remember, this is exactly what I was talking about. I want to be the governor that does not have my cronies enforce my will, but instead supports the rights of the individual against the local bully. That is literally what I said earlier today. That's exactly an example of what I'm talking about. That's who I want to be. You call me up, that changes. That is exactly what I'm talking about. The local bully. And that's who he is, a local bully. But right now, he's enforcing the king's will. He won't be enforcing my will. I defend your rights against those guys. Did at least answer your question? Yes. Awesome. Okay, now I'm going to get to you. Education. All right, education. My education program is radical. No question. It's bold. No doubt. Why? Because our education is a disaster. It is horrible. We spend $22,000 per kid, and we rate lower than 30 in everything across every way you look at it. Nothing but bad. Cuomo is very happy. His Majesty says, I'm so happy. I spend so much money. And his newest plan spends more money, and here's his plan. They always say, let teachers teach. Then they add administrators. So his plan right now is, this is true, and you guys happen to be in teaching? So you'll love this. You can tell me if I'm right or wrong. His current plan is, I'm going to hire and pay non-teachers to teach current teachers how to teach better. Is that true? Yes, that's his plan. That's his plan. Yes. I am the only candidate who says, let teachers teach, then I let them teach. Step 1. You don't have to worry about those laws. I'm eliminating all standardized testing until high school. All gone. None. Standardized testing is an unfair way of grading teachers. It is an unfair way of rewarding schools. Also, it makes kids who are 10, 11, and 12 years old feel stupid because they can't do tests well. We create a second class of student for no reason whatsoever. Shame on us for that. And it's no indication of success in the future. Not at that age, right? When you get older, it can help you decide where you're going in life. It absolutely can. But as a 10-year-old, nothing. And on top of it, it destroys creative thinking. It makes kids think everything's black and white. There is an answer, boom, and that's it. Nothing but bad. It also stifles teachers from actually teaching. And it makes them checkbox, checkbox, checkbox instead of teaching, teaching, teaching. It is bad, bad, bad. It will go away. When it goes away, there will be several repercussions for that. Number 1, we will lose Common Core. So what? Don't care. Don't care about losing Common Core. If you're an educator, again, you'll back me up, there is a small percentage of students who actually will learn better on Common Core. There's a very small percentage. Am I correct? Yes, there's a small percentage. Here's what I want. I'm not against Common Core. I'm against the mandate that forces the teacher to use it. If you happen to have that kid in your class and you as a teacher decide it's the right tool to use, please use that tool. Guess what? I trust a teacher more than me. I have a feeling that you'd probably know the right thing to do. And if Common Core is correct, please use it. If it's not, please don't. I'm okay either way. I want kids to be happy. I want parents to be happy. I want kids to know what 2 + 2 is for, how they learn it. I'm not concerned. The next thing will happen, we'll lose federal funds. Because the federal funds, oh boy, they love standardized testing. We'll lose it. We'll lose about $4 billion. The budget's about $60 billion. We will lose $4 billion out of that. But I got a plan for that, don't worry. But the most important piece is once we lose that, we lose all of those administrators. Look at a smile on their face. You lose all of those administrators. You won't have to have a superintendent in every school. You won't have to have a principal plus 9 vice principals. You won't have to have that anymore because all those will go away. When people writing grants, trying to get money all the time, that will begin to go away. You don't need any of that stuff. Now, why does that matter? Because the average school teacher makes $80,000 a year in New York, about $80,000 in New York State, the average. Some make more, some make less. No, that's the average.
We start at 35.
Yes,
With master's degrees.
but go down to Long Island.
They don't
Yes.
want to. They want to live here.
No, I'm saying, but look at the numbers. I said average. I said average. You find there are teachers that make over 100,000. There are. So I said the average. Depends on where you go, right? Long Island is one of the highest paid. Westchester, I think, also very high paid. So yes, so it's an average. The average is about 80,000. But the average administrator makes over 6 figures. Some make $200,000 or $300,000. You dump 2 administrators, you can easily hire 3 or 4 teachers, or give raises, or have higher starting salaries, or insert thing here. Guess who is the only person who I'm sure will not be deciding that? Me. I won't be deciding that. When I provide a surplus to the local school district, you will be deciding that. Because I don't know if you need a new Spanish teacher, or should give teachers raises, or should have a new football field. I don't know what the answer is. I'm not there. You are. Maybe you need new computers. I don't know. Enjoy. As long as you are transparent. You hear me say it again and again and again. That's what matters. But I'm not done. K through 12 shouldn't exist. K through 12 is an anachronism. It should be K through 10. We should stop at 10th grade. At 10th grade, take a test. You pass the test, homeschooled, private school, public school. There's your degree. Enjoy. You're ready to go. There's your college diploma. But wait a minute, Larry, now what? No worries. You got 5 choices now. Choice number 1. Here's a problem. Why would I even want to do that? Because for the vast majority of kids, too many of them, 11th and 12th grade is gym, study hall, video games, and probably smoking weed. You laugh. It's true. For too many kids doing that. They're wasting their time. How do we know that? You go to college now, the first year of college, 13th grade. The kids are not ready for college at all. They're not ready. The average kid takes 6 years to graduate college now. 6 years to graduate college. That's how bad it is. Now the kid's 24 years old, never had a job, and wonder, why are they having the work ethic? Or worse, he's 24 years old, hated college because he was told a lie. The lie is the only way to success in this world is to get a great high school diploma, a regent's diploma, which means nothing, and to get, I'm laughing, but it means nothing. The regent's diploma is useless, worthless, means nothing. No employer ever said this. Regent's diploma, oh my God, you're hired. Never happened ever. Never happened ever. That's the whole thing. I know, I have one too, and it's useless. Yes. Look, again, I'm a business guy. I hire and fire. That's what I do. I do this. No one cares. There's not one employee who cares. Does not exist. Anyway, so let me keep going. And we've been told this lie is the only way is to then get a good college degree and get a great 4-year degree and sit behind the computer all day. That is a way to success, but not the only way by far. There are so many other ways to success. We always say, well, BOCES. BOCES, by the way, is wonderful. Here's the problem. The image is terrible. You can't get a guidance counselor or teacher to say go to BOCES unless you're the bad kid or the dumb kid. Well, the dumb kid goes to BOCES, right? And the other kid goes off to college begrudgingly. The college kid now is 24 years old with a degree that has no value, $100,000 in debt, and has to work at Starbucks. The BOCES kid, the dumb kid, became a plumber. They make at least 80 grand a year and have no debt. That's a pretty smart dumb kid. That's all I'm saying. We need more of that. We need trades in New York State. The average tradesman in New York State is 50 years old, a little bit older. That's horrible. Not that I don't love my 50-year-old tradesmen. I'm 50. I love 50-year-olds. They're awesome, right? Great. But that should not be the average. The average should be 30, 35. That's the issue. Hold on. Do you have a question on this specifically?
Yeah.
Go ahead, please.
So how do we deal with the guidance who's telling the guidance counselors to tell the children
Yep.
that you're better than BOCES?
Yes.
I've heard with my
Yes.
peers,
Yes.
oh, you're better than that. No,
Yep.
no, no. Are they being told to say that, to give that message? And if they are, how do we?
Okay, this is a great, you are 100% correct. I'm not joking when I say BOCES has a bad rap. People who are old, like my age or older, are shocked when I say that. Because if you're 60 years old or so in that area, BOCES was a good thing when we went to high school. I remember, BOCES was of the bad kids when I went to high school. It is now. That has changed in the last 20 years or so. It was not that way when I went to high school. When I went to high school, kids went there because they wanted to be mechanics and stuff. It wasn't because it was bad. They liked cars. That's why kids did it. That kind of thing. It didn't exist. But now it does. The point is, I don't know who's saying it. But this governor will not say that. This governor will tell people to stop saying that. This governor will go out of his way to make sure people aren't saying that anymore. Parents and teachers and also guidance counselors, all of them. I will be the bully pulpit to make people stop that. So I don't actually know who says it, to tell you the truth. But that's what.
Overpaid administrators.
I'm sorry?
The overpaid administrators.
There we go.
Wait, he just fired them.
They're getting fired. Actually, yes. Actually, again, I'm not firing them. The school district will. Because there probably are some very talented administrators that the school districts actually need. That's my assumption, that there are talented administrators that they actually need. Good. The school district will decide which ones are the talented ones they actually need. Keep those, and the ones who are just checking boxes can go. Right? But I'm sure they're talented. You need administrators. You need them. You don't need anywhere near as much as we have. There are districts right now where they actually have more administrators than teachers. Yes, that exists. That's wrong. That I'm sure is bad, right? But how
Who pays for them?
that we do. Now how many each school district should have, I don't know. They'll figure that out. So let me keep going with this real fast. You're going to have 5 choices now at this point when you're a kid. Number 1, you're 16. You decide college is right for you. No worries. Go to a prep school, a 2-year prep school to prepare you for college, the college you want to go to, whatever that is. You want to go to, is it history? Is it medicine? Is it law? Is it biology? Whatever it is, prep for that school. You are ready to go. When you get to that school, you are ready to rock and roll. You can take advantage of internships, advantage of incubators, maybe graduate in 3 years. You have actual experience. You're ready to rock and roll. Second option, you're that brilliant, book smart kid who is just a scientist. Awesome. Don't be bored. Go right to college. Take your SATs. Show how smart you are. Get to your degree. You're 18. You've got an associate. You're going to be a scientist anyway. Good luck. Go. You're going for PhD, going for master's. Go. All good. Third option. You don't want any of those things. Go to trade school. Become a plumber. Become a mechanic. Become a carpenter. Whatever. 2 years in a good trade school. Now you're 18. You either have a license or you're ready for an apprentice, depending upon what you're doing. And now you're ready to rock and roll. Again, we need trades in this state desperately. That's why we have so much need for foreign labor, because we aren't taking those jobs, and they're here. You know how many people I hear all the time say, Larry, I can't get people. I can't get them. I hear people all the time tell me this one thing, Larry, I will hire anybody with a work ethic. They don't say with a master's degree over 10 years experience, with a work ethic.
If they can breathe.
Yeah, but they got to show up. And that goes to the 4th option you have here, which is get a job. At 16, go get a job. I worked at 16. Go get a job. Learn what it means to have a boss. Learn what it means that when your boss says show up at 8, it doesn't mean 9:30. It means 7:45.
And they'll figure out what it is they don't want to do.
Absolutely, yes, they will, 100%. Not just that, they'll know what it means to pay taxes. I make $10 an hour. No, I make 7. Yes, they'll figure out how that works. Who's FICA? Why am I paying for FICA? I don't know a guy named FICA. That's exactly right. Yes, they will figure that stuff out. They'll learn a work ethic at 16, but here's the best part. They can work for a lower rate because they're still at home. Which means, again, less requirement for foreign labor. Again, it helps. Again, not you want to do that? Start a business. Go. You may say, Larry, that sounds good, but man, they're 16. They're 16. Good. Make your errors at 16, not 26. Make them early. Make them now young, not when you're 20. The price for failure at 16 is very low. The price for failure at 26, a whole lot higher. And we have a huge swath of people in their 20s right now. If you ask them how old do they feel like adults, they will tell you, over half will say no. We have a thing called adulting. Yes, you heard that. Yes. That's a problem. Let them start at 16. It's a good idea. Let it happen. But more important piece, how do you pay for this? Very simple. I was a Marine. When I got out of the Marine Corps, I got a GI Bill. I got X dollars and a certain amount of years to use it. We're going to give every kid at 16 $20,000 and 7 years to use it. Good luck. They don't get the money. It's for the government. The government will pay. Why will the government pay? Because by Constitution, we have to pay for all education 1 through 12. We have to. So we're going to pay for that. No worries. $20,000. Here's what I promise you. I promise you this. A bunch of really cool prep schools will pop up. Guess how much they'll cost for 2 years? $20,000. Yes, they will. A bunch of great trade schools will pop up. Guess how much they cost for 2 years? $20,000. How do I know they'll pop up? Because they'll be able to get loans. Why will they be able to get loans? Because the government's giving them $20,000 per student. It is an environment set up on purpose for this to grow. It will grow. That's how it works. Here's the best part, though. How much are we now paying per student per year? No. $10,000 per. Instead of 22, we're saving $12,000 per student. There are about 400,000 students who are 11th, 12th grade in New York State. That's more than $4 billion. That covers the federal funds, plus more, and you get rid of administrators, plus more. All I've just done is not raise one taxpayer dollar, not one. I've increased the happiness of all of our kids, better service, happier teachers, less administrators, and a surplus